Muhammad's Quran continues with more promises. Al-Mutaffifin 83.22, the believers will be in delightful bliss, on couch-like thrones, gazing, their thirst will be slaked with pure wine. يسقون من رحيق مختوم. Al-Buruj 85:11. For those who believe and do good deeds will be gardens, the fulfillment of all desires. Al-Ghashiyah 88.12. Therein will be a bubbling spring, raised throne-like couches, drinking cups ready placed, cushions set in rows, and rich silken carpets all spread out. Al-Tirmidhi Hadith 3834, narrated by Al-Miqdam ibn Ma'di Qarib. Allah's Messenger said, the martyr receives 6 good things from Allah. He is forgiven at the first shedding of his blood. He is shown his abode in paradise. He is preserved from the punishment in the grave. He is kept safe from the greatest terror. He has placed on his head the crown of honor, a ruby of which is better than the world and what it contains. He is married to 72 wives of the maidens with large dark eyes, and is made intercessor for 70 of his relatives. Al-Tirmidhi 5635, narrated by Abu Sa'id. Allah's Messenger said, the faces of the first company to enter paradise on the day of resurrection will be as bright as the moon on the night when it is full. And the second company will be like the most beautiful shining planet in the sky. Every man among them will have 2 wives, each wife wearing 70 mantles through which the marrow of her leg will be seen. Al-Tirmidhi 5638, narrated by Abu Hurairah. Allah's Messenger said, the inhabitants of paradise are hairless, beardless, and have black eyes. Their youth does not pass away, and their garments do not wear out. Al-Tirmidhi 5648, narrated by Abu Sa'id. Allah's Messenger said, the lowliest of the inhabitants of paradise will be he who has 80,000 servants, 72 wives. They will wear crowns, the smallest pearl of which will illuminate the space between the east and the west. Sahih al-Bukhari 4.544, narrated by Abu Hurairah. Allah's Apostle said, the first group who will enter paradise will be glittering like the moon, and those who will follow will glitter like the most brilliant star. They will not urinate, relieve nature, spit, or have any nasal secretions. Their combs will be gold, and their sweat will smell like musk. Their companions will be houris, virgins. All of them will look alike and will be 60 cubits tall, 180 feet. Muhammad, the true poor Arabian shepherd, could not conceive of a paradise without water, greenery, fruit, food, sensual and sexual pleasures, because these were the very items lacking in his life ordinarily, as well as in the lives of his kith and kin, the Bedouins. That is why he finds it unacceptable to believe in a spiritual and not a physical paradise. After all, the whole of Muhammad's religious ideas, as shown in his Quran, are anchored in the belief and the promise of a paradise enjoyed by himself and his followers in a physical sense with unlimited sensual and sexual pleasures. Had this not been the case, he would not have had any followers at all. They died for him and his ideas because they truly believed that he was the messenger of Allah who could and would intercede on their behalf to enter paradise. They sincerely believed and still believe that they will be rewarded with virgins who will be at their beck and call, as if paradise could be turned into a whorehouse for the martyred followers of Muhammad, all of them dying for the sake of Allah. Sahih al-Bukhari 7.494b, narrated by Abu Malik al-Ash'ari, that he heard the Prophet saying, from among my followers there will be some people who will consider illegal sexual intercourse, the wearing of silk, the drinking of alcoholic drinks, and the use of musical instruments as lawful. Allah will destroy them during the night and will let the mountain fall on them. And he will transform the rest of them into monkeys and pigs, that they will remain so till the day of resurrection. He will transform the rest into monkeys and pigs is the same curse that Muhammad had heaped upon the Jews who broke the Sabbath ruling. Sahih al-Bukhari 8.550, narrated by Abu Hurairah. I heard Allah's Apostle saying, from my followers there will enter paradise a crowd, 70,000 in number, whose faces will glitter as the moon does when it is full. On hearing that, Ukasha bin Mihsan al-Azdi got up, lifting his covering sheet, and said, "O Allah's Apostle, invoke Allah that He may make me one of them." The Prophet said, "O Allah, make him one of them." Another man from the Ansar got up and said, "O Allah's Apostle, invoke Allah to make me one of them." The Prophet said to him, "Ukasha has preceded you." The word Huri, the playmates of paradise, appears in the Quran 44.54, 52.20, 78.33, and in different formats in 55.56, 78.33. Also in Bukhari Hadith 4.53. It describes beautiful females with wide and stunning eyes, bashful virgins. They are exquisite creatures provided for the sexual pleasures of believing Muslim men in Muhammad's version of paradise. Muhammad promised his followers an incredibly beautiful afterlife with unlimited pleasures, sexual, visual, and sensual, the very same pleasures that Muhammad prohibited them from having on earth. Neither the word nor the concepts are Arabian, since they were plagiarized as usual with Muhammad from the Persian Zoroastrian concept of their paradise called Firdaus. It is important to point out first that there is no mention anywhere in the Quran of the actual number of virgins available in paradise. And second, the dark-eyed damsels are available for all Quran-abiding male Muhammadans, not just martyrs. It is only in the ahadith that we first find the 72 virgins in heaven specified, starting with At-Tirmidhi 3834, also quoted by Ibn Kathir in his Quranic commentary Tafsir of Surah Al-Rahman. Modern apologists of Muhammad and Islam try to downplay the evident materialism, physicality, and sexual implications of such descriptions. But, as the Encyclopedia of Islam says, even Orthodox Muslim theologians such as Al-Ghazali and Al-Ash'ari have admitted sensual pleasures into paradise. In fact, the sensual pleasures are graphically described in detail by Al-Suyuti, Quranic commentator and polymath. He wrote, "Each time we sleep with a Huri, we find her virgin. Besides, the penis of the elected never softens. The erection is eternal. The sensation that you feel each time you make love is utterly delicious and out of this world. And were you to experience it in this world, you would faint. Each chosen one, i.e. Muslim, will marry 70 Huris, besides the women he married on earth, and all will have appetizing vaginas." If a learned and very cultured Muhammadan exegete, such as Al-Suyuti, nonetheless came up with such incredible drivel and utter stupidity, then it should not come as a surprise to ordinary, intelligent, and decent people in the 21st century that there are hundreds of thousands of Muhammadan men who are willing to commit the most horrible, reprehensible, and inhumane acts against any and all unbelievers because they have been brainwashed into believing that in death they will get all the pleasures that they are and were forbidden by Muhammad and Islam from attaining in life for eternity. In summation, the cult of Muhammad has no concept of the spiritual world. Those of his followers who die while attempting to slaughter unbelievers end up in a whorehouse paradise with unlimited sex, food, and other carnal and sensual pleasures. Muhammad's concept of paradise is the exact opposite to that of the Judeo-Christian one. His paradise is physical and not spiritual, typical of the mental needs of the Arabian nomad, whose lack of water, food, vegetation, shade, women, and luxuries can only be reflected in an afterlife type of existence to fully compensate for all of his otherwise worldly needs on earth. That is why Muhammad's paradise is more like a very luxurious, carnal, and sensual brothel for men only than a domain for a spiritual communion with the Almighty. If Allah were the same as the God of Israel and Jesus, then Muhammad also usurped Allah's right, and only Allah's right and pleasure, as to who would or would not be consigned to paradise. Muhammad, with malice aforethought, and without any divine sanction anywhere in the Quran, falsely and mendaciously promised his poor, illiterate, ignorant, superstitious and gullible followers, whom he sent to fight and die for his own cause in the name of Allah and Muhammad, unlimited pleasures after death. He promised them rewards way beyond their wildest imaginings as long as they obeyed Allah, which of course by extension meant Muhammad.